لله ما في السماوات والأرض إن الله هو الغني الحميد ولو أن ما في الأرض من شجرة أقلام والبحر يمده من بعده 7 أبحر ما نفدت كلمات الله إن الله عزيز حكيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إقرارا به وتوحيدا وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما مزيدا أما بعد. A brief review of what we mentioned in last night's class, or not last night's class, but yesterday's class. And let's not forget, brothers and sisters, this session of ours is not meant to be a general lecture. It's not meant to be a general muhadara. It's supposed to be a session for راغبين في الاستفادة, يعني students of knowledge in Arabic and in English who want a bit more. بإذن الله سبحانه وتعالى. So what did we mention in the last class? ما الذي ذكرنا في الدرس الذي سلف؟ باليمين أي نعم.
The golden rule of always looking the hadith in batch, or I don't know how to say it in English, in gang, and not just focusing on one text.
Al-Hadith, if you don't look at the Hadith collectively, you may make a mistake, you may make an error. Rather, one Hadith with several different riwayat, alfaz, turuq, awjuh, versions of one Hadith will lead you to understanding it properly, let alone one Hadith and the other Hadith. And this is with regards to authenticity, and this is with regards to the fiqh of the Hadith. Learning and understanding them. As Imam Ahmad said, إذا أردت أن يصح لك حديثك فاضرب بعضه ببعض. الحديث إن لم تجمع طرقه لم يتبين خطأه. آثار كثيرة ورد عن الأئمة في أهمية جمع طرق وجمع الألفاظ والتوفيق بينها وعدم العجلة في ظن التعارض والتخالف. وهذه نقطة مهمة جدا لطلبة العلم. It's very important for students of knowledge. And we said even in the field of da'wah, ilm al-hadith and mastery of it will aid you when you talk to the Christians, when you talk to the atheists, when you defend Islam on social media. Ilm al-hadith will help you. And the proper training in this science is an indestructible sword that can cut through any batil if it's properly used. If it's what? If it's properly used. Khairan, inshallah. What else did we mention yesterday? Idris.
dunya جنة الكافر.
طيب أحسنت. الدنيا جنة الكافر وسجن المؤمن. Khairan, inshallah. The narration that Sheikh Muhammad Ali mentioned last night about Hafiz bin Hajar being the senior judge of Egypt, and the man who came and asked him, how is this, your prophet says that it's the paradise for me and the prison for you. Very beneficial story, and I want to just add a few things to that story today, and one of the versions of this story. And that was that they say Hafiz bin Hajar rahimahullah, whenever he went to do a case, his job was flexible. He wouldn't just travel by himself on a horse or a camel, but he would have a buggy, okay, like a little small type of caravan with him, proving more wealth. Everybody understand this? And obviously he's a senior judge. He's going to be dressed a certain way. He's going to smell a certain way. He's going to look a certain way, etc. So they say that he was traveling, in his entourage, his collection of horses, camels, his buggy or whatever, caravan. And they came across a man who not only was a non-Muslim, but he was a Jew, he was Yehudi. And he was, they say, Zayyat. He was someone who sold olives or someone who sold olive oil. So obviously the Zayyat is going to be greasy and dirty. He's going to be shabby. He's going to look really, really, Everybody understand this? So they say that the Jewish man walked up to the buggy of the caravan and he stopped it. He said, halt, stop right here. And he called out to Ibn Hajar. And he said, what Sheikh Muhammad Ali mentioned last night, your prophet said, Jannatul Kafir wa Sijnul Mu'min, Sijnul Mu'min, Jannatul Kafir. How is this? And then Hafiz ibn Hajar, rahimahullah, he replied to him and he says, the pleasure that I'm in, consider to what's in hereafter, vice versa, what he mentioned. And last but not least, after the Jewish man heard that statement, he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. He accepted Islam based off of what had taken place. Khairan inshallah. Ahsant Idris. What else did we mention yesterday? Anything else? But right hand.
When giving dawah, we should go on the offensive and be confident.
When giving dawah, it shouldn't always be defensive. It shouldn't always be apologetic, soft and weak, and it doesn't mean this and doesn't mean that. Even when you're on the defensive, it should be what? Offense as well. Or offense and defense at the same time. Offense and defense at the same time. Defend Islam and attack the batil at the same time. And then the da'iyah has to be strong. Islamically strong. Your ilm has to be strong. Your personality has to be strong. Your character has to be strong. Because you're defending the deen of Islam. And nothing about the deen of Islam is weak. Nothing. And this is because the deen of Islam was sent down by someone who is Al-Aziz. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's Al-Aziz. He has the izzah. And he gives it. Khairan inshallah. Tayyip. What else did we mention yesterday? Briefly. Tafadal. The majority of the people in Jannah are poor people. Tayyip. Ascent. Something to soften one's heart. To think about the dunya and its reality. Khair, what else did we mention yesterday? That's it. تفضل. حتى بالعربي ما لا مشكل.
You mentioned that prayer isn't a proper translation for salah.
Prayer isn't a proper translation of salah. That was yesterday or Saturday?
Yesterday was Saturday.
I thought I was off.
That wasn't Saturday.
It
was yesterday.
It was yesterday or Saturday?
I wasn't here, so I didn't hear that one.
Tayyip. So what was the translation? We said that prayer in that chapter was what? Wrong. Aywa. Is that it makes a person feel like that it's a what? Salah. Because Muslims, we have our own English culture as well. We have our own what? English culture. There's certain words and terminologies that have been Islamicized. No doubt about that. Even though they're in what? In English. Everybody got this? Everybody clear on this? When we say pray, I have to make prayer. I have to pray. Pray. Naam. In most cases, that's what? Physical salah. And when most Muslims say these prayer like this, say make what? Make dua for me. Everybody got this? Khairan inshallah. Tayyip, tafadal.
The argument who's better in the eyes of Allah, the poor, patient, or...
Who's better? Who's closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Al-Ghani al-Shakir or Al-Faqir al-Sabir? And what did your research lead you to?
They both have a khayr in them. And they both have to have sabr in both situations.
Okay.
The one who gives has to understand, and the one who gives might have more ability to...
What did Ibn Qayyim say? What was Ibn Qayyim's tarjih? What was his conclusion? Raise your hand if you read the book last night, if you went back to the book. Tayyip. That's good, but I know that you're freestyling. Laves. There's nothing wrong with freestyling in certain times and places, but I want everyone to go back to the book. Tayyip, what conclusion did you get? Al-Ghani al-Shakir. Ibn Qayyim or you? Ibn Qayyim. The Ghani al-Shakir is better. Tayyip, khayr inshallah. And you?
The other one's forced to be poor, he doesn't have a choice.
He doesn't have a choice.
The one requires a great deal of patience.
طيب خير إن شاء الله. And you agree with that? تفضل عبد الرحمن. لا توافق. جيد. يلا بارز.
Yeah, the reason why I disagree with it is because Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was poor.
النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم طيب.
And he's the best example for us, right?
يعني أنت تقول الإنسان قد يختار الفقر كذلك.
You're right.
انتبهوا. He says that the poor person doesn't have a choice but to be poor. I'm not me, because I'm not in this fight. This is between you and Abd Rahman. He's saying the faqir, the poor person, could also, he could choose to be poor. And it is not something that's forced. But the rizq is written. Tayyib. The rizq is written for both of them. So the ghani shakir, he doesn't have a choice except to be rich.
I have the jawab.
Faddal, you're attacking him, not me. Faddal.
The correct answer would be the person that begs Allah the most for his situation. So, for example, if the person is poor and he begs Allah more tremendously than the person that is rich, then that will make him better. Or the person that is rich, but sometimes someone can be rich and he can be better than a poor person. Sometimes the poor person, he might not do shukr or might be, you understand me? So it can be both ways.
I want to say something to the brothers and the sisters, inshallah. Very, very important. For tulab al-ilm and also for 9 to 5 Muslim. From the most, not the most, but from the most beneficial ways of truly learning and benefiting and understanding what you read and what you hear is debating. Debating. Not arguing, fighting, okay? I have my side, yes or no. But to have scholastic what? Debates. Every single week, we have an issue, wiping over the socks. For 3 days for a traveler or unlimited time. You research, I research, 3 brothers here, 3 brothers there. We come on Saturday and we have a what? A debate. And we have someone who has more knowledge than us who moderates the debate. Sisters, they get together, they have a debate. Is it obligatory to cover the hands and the face or just recommended? You read, you research, you study. Wallah, you're going to discover things that you thought you knew. You thought you understood. You're going to discover things you never even heard about, proofs, evidences, statements, athar. Let alone this strengthens the brotherhood and the sisterhood. That's my friend, it's my brother, we debated. You see what I'm saying to you? I learned, he learned. It's very beneficial, especially for the tulab al-ilm. And you're not going to find a serious tulab al-ilm except that one time or another they do what, Samir? They spar, they fence. And it's not, I know more than you, you know more than me, I'm going to beat you. It's about sharpening, staying sharp, staying fresh, and coming across what he has, because he looks at things differently. I look at things differently. He studied in a different place. He was in Egypt, he was in Yemen, he was in Saudi. Everybody brings something to the table. And at the end, the knowledge grows. So this is a good thing that we're trying to do. Everybody understand this? It's not about ego. It's about benefiting. Everybody got this? So this is my nasiha. For the brothers, for the sisters, you should come together. You should have like a little debate club. Once a month, once a week. Based off of knowledge, of course. With a sincere intention. You're my brother in Islam, that's it. Everybody understand this? And don't underestimate the benefits of this. Fadal.
And the Prophet ﷺ is a hikmah, right? That he was not rich. Because we talked about this yesterday. That because all leaders, they're rich, they abuse, they have so much, wealth. But the Prophet ﷺ was humble.
He had to be unique.
Yes. So this shows, and a lot of non-Muslims when they read this, they get touched because he's a humble leader. Although he had control of all the state, he was, living the same standard or below the standard than other Muslims in the States. And the other thing is this is the Prophet ﷺ. But when we talk about the non-prophets, Abu Bakr Siddiq, he had wealth, right? He was shakir. Abdul Rahman ibn Awf, Uthman ibn Affan. All of these were al-Ghani al-Shakir, right? And all of them, yeah.
طيب
So this is my
توافقه شيخ عبد الرحمن؟ طيب خير جيد تفضل أخي. Most important أخي, don't ever forget the true spirit of seeking ilm is that you should be competition. وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون. Not for the dunya, but for Jannah, for ilm, for Islamic excellence. Naam? You should be willing to say la wafiq, jump on them, throw them. Everybody understand this? It's how we learn with each other. Everybody got this? That's how we what? That's how we benefit. Simon, he WhatsApps me from Canada to America. Yeah, Sheikh, You mentioned this in the class, that's wrong. La, where do you find this hadith? He gets me all the time. And what do, Samir? I take it, alhamdulillah. A benefit, we learn, we study. Everybody got this? It shouldn't be weak. Naam? هل كذبت يا شيخ؟ طيب, Allah يحفظكم. Okay, anybody else? Any sisters did the research from Ibn Qayyim? Any sisters go back to the book from Ibn Qayyim? ما هو رأيك يا سامر؟
I would say the person who best takes control of the situation, and like obviously the person, whether they're rich or whether they're poor, but who understands the situation.
طيب, هناك عبارة علمية مشهورة في الترجيح محررة، يقول بعض أهل العلم إذا استويا في التقوى استويا في الفضل. إذا استويا في التقوى استويا في الفضل. كأن هذا الذي تريد تقول. إذا استويا في التقوى استويا في الفضل، وإلا قد يكون غني شاكر وقد يكون طيب. It all what? All depends. طيب, تفضل.
Ibn Qayyim has a statement. I can't remember which book it was. I was here yesterday to know the book yesterday, but he says that for the one who has money, wealth in his heart but doesn't have it in his hand, it will destroy him. And for the one who has it in his hands but not in his heart, it will not. Something to that extent. So meaning that the value that a person puts to it, and that kind of relates back to the topic of zuhud itself. And between the one who's rich or the poor is the person who kind of value they portray to it, because the person might be in poverty, but if they have the love of wealth in their heart, it will still destroy them through other means, even though they might not have the actual cash value.
طيب, خير. عبد الرحمن, ما هو خلاصة قولك في المسألة؟ الاستواء. إذا استوى وإلا قد يكون هذا أفضل وقد يكون هذا. ما ذكرت شيء. أنت طيب. طيب, لكن انتبهوا لفائدة. طالب العلم لابد إيش؟ يحافظ على العبارات المحررة الواضحة المنضبطة دقيقة، خاصة في المناقشة. It's not always what you say, but sometimes what? It's how you say it. طيب شيخ, توافق على هذا ولا ما زلت مع الفقير الصابر؟ أنت؟
الآن تذكرت الحديث. I remember the hadith that talks about the four types of people.
طيب.
Right? One with money and knowledge, one with money, one with knowledge, no money, one with no money, no knowledge, and one with no knowledge and money. Right? So there's different. So it depends on the intention. Right?
نريد الترجيح يا شيخ، خلاصة. الأدلة كثيرة. نريد رأيك أنت، مذهبك أنت.
حسب التقوى.
حسب التقوى. طيب, خير إن شاء الله. Nothing else? Anything from the sisters before we move forward? أيوة. تفضل.
There's something that I did not master at all, but I remember you talk about the term Allahu and Ya Allah or something.
Allahumma, naam.
Allahumma, yeah.
Right, that's right. That was a homework assignment as well. Who did that? Allahumma. طيب, تفضل.
I have a very, very, very limited Arabic knowledge. So, but I talked with my wife and she told me that it was like similar, I think, like Ya Allah and Allahumma, and it was only applicable to Allah for some reason that I think she did not really grasp, but in that lineup.
طيب, Jazakallah khairan for doing the research. You benefit from the research even if you don't find a specific answer. First and foremost is the reward from Allah, because seeking knowledge is ibadah. Now, let alone the beneficial information that you get. We can never ever forget seeking ilm is what? It's ibadah, it's worship. From the greatest acts of worship. طيب, تفضل.
I found that it's when you take away the Ya Allah, you have to replace it with Mim Mushaddada. So Ya is 2 letters and Mim Mushaddada is 2 letters. So it kind of balances up.
So this pertains to the Arabic language now. You're saying إلا صرفية. طيب, بل المعنى. لماذا الميم؟ تفضل.
I was going to say التبرك بالابتداء بلفظ الدلالة.
طيب. والميم
الياء.
ما هو السر؟ كيف يعني رحنا ياء إلى ميم؟ خير إن شاء الله. طيب, let's move forward. Today's hadith we have chapter number 8, or I believe chapter number 7. The author rahimahullah ta'ala, he says babu khashyatu, or babun, and you know we say babu as well. خشية بسط الدنيا والتنافس فيها. اقرأ.
باب خشية بسط الدنيا والتنافس فيها. عن عمرو بن عوف رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بعث أبي عبيدة بن الجراح بعث أبا عبيدة بن الجراح رضي الله عنه إلى البحرين يأتي بجزيتها، وكان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم هو صالح أهل البحرين وأمر عليهم العلاء بن الحضرمي، فقدم أبو عبيدة بمال من البحرين، فسمعت الأنصار بقدوم أبي عبيدة
فسمعت الأنصار
بقدوم قدوم أبي عبيدة فوافوا صلاة الفجر مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم، فلما صلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم انصرف فتعرضوا له، فتبسم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حين رآهم، ثم قال: أظنكم سمعتم أن أبا عبيدة قدم بشيء من البحرين، فقالوا: أجل يا رسول الله. قال: فأبشروا وأملوا ما يسركم، فوالله ما الفقر أخشى عليكم، ولكني أخشى عليكم أن تبسط الدنيا عليكم كما بسطت على من كان قبلكم، فتنافسوها كما تنافسوها وتهلككم كما أهلكتهم.
أحسنت, بارك الله فيك. وغيره? Anyone else reading for us today from Sahih Muslim? مختصر Sahih Muslim. طيب. The author rahimahullah, he says باب خشية بسط الدنيا والتنافس فيها. عن عمرو بن عوف رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بعث أبا عبيدة بن الجراح رضي الله عنه إلى البحرين يأتي بجزيتها. The author says fear, it says worldly love and competition. Worldly love and competition, which is not necessarily a bad translation, but it doesn't give the full meaning as the author said it in Arabic. Khashya, the fear of the harm and the consequence of worldly competition. But it's much deeper than just worldly competition, because it says in Arabic, bastud dunya, the worldly life being opened up for you, being given to you, being handed to you. Because I can have worldly competition and still be poor. I can fight and scratch and connive for basic measly things, and it's still blameworthy in al-Islam. It's still blameworthy in al-Islam. That's not the same as bastud dunya, riches, wealth being opened up for the Muslims. The Muslims who lived a simple basic life begin to live an extravagant lavish life. And then when the riches came, when the wealth came, then there was the tanafus. So that translation once again doesn't give it true justice. Khairan inshallah. Moving forward. It says here, narrated Amr ibn Auf, the Messenger of Allah sent Abu Ubaidah bin al-Jarrah radiallahu anhu to Bahrain to collect the zakah. The Messenger of Allah had established peace with the people of Bahrain and appointed Al-Ala bin al-Hadrami as their governor. When Abu Ubaidah came from Bahrain with revenues, the Ansar heard of Abu Ubaidah's arrival, which coincided with the time of the morning prayer with the Messenger of Allah. When the Messenger of Allah led them in the morning prayer and finished, the Ansar approached him. He looked at them and smiled. And then he said, I think that you heard about the arrival of Abu Ubaidah with goods from Bahrain. They said, yes, O Messenger of Allah. He said, rejoice and hope for that which will please you. By Allah, it is not poverty I'm worried about, but I'm worried that this world will be opened up for you as it was opened up for those before you, and that you will compete with each other over it as they competed for it, and it will destroy you as it destroyed them. Allahu Akbar. Prophet ﷺ tells us, I'm not afraid that you're going to be poor. I'm not worried about poverty. I'm worried about the exact opposite. I'm worried about the exact opposite, that you will have wealth, you will have luxury, you will have revenue. The dunya, it says, How we open up, it will be expanded for you. And then once it's expanded and you get a taste of luxury, you get a taste of this type of lavish, non-Islamic lifestyle, then it will destroy you, because there comes envy, jealousy, treachery. There comes fornication, adultery, cheating. All of the sick practices of those who have wealth and royalty will now be offered to you. Everybody got this? So once again, this hadith, it teaches us the concept of zuhd, is that in general, not all of the time, but in general, when the worldly life is opened up, it's going to be a problem. Secondly, once again, it shows us the mean and base nature of the dunya. And as we say, money is the root of what? All evil. When the people were simple, basic, tulab al-ilm, studying, everything was fine. The moment this one got invited to this conference, the moment this one got this ijazah, the moment he became the imam of the masjid, the moment he got the attention from the sisters, the moment he was the sheikh of the markaz, the moment he got his doctorate, the moment kada, then his refutation. Akhta and Hassan kada and so on and so on and so forth. But when they were all poor and simple, on one level, everything was tayyib. Akhuna, al-fadil. But then when he went beyond them, some type of dunya was offered to him. Not saying that he wanted the dunya, but it was opened up. Then came the competition. Then came the hasad. Then came the tabaghud and the tadabur. Everybody understand this? So this goes to show us once again how the tulab al-ilm need to read these ahadith. You need to study these ahadith. And Allah has no doubt we have become far from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And it doesn't mean that other books are bad and other books are negative. But we have become far from the sunnah. Seeking ilm and the do's and the don'ts of seeking ilm should be initially based off of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Well, alhamdulillah, that's why we compiled 40 hadith on seeking knowledge. Not 40 athar, not explanation of this one, but 40 statements, 40 actions, 40 stories, 40 things of Muhammad ﷺ with regards to what you should do and what you shouldn't do in seeking knowledge. So therefore, once the dunya is opened up, comes competition. When the competition comes, the third and final step is destruction. فَتُهْلِكُكُمْ, it will destroy you. Because if you're all one jama'ah, now there's dunya, now there's hasad, now there's tanafus. Instead of one strong solid unit, now there are 5 masjids. And now the enemies of Islam, physically or not, will come and conquer and take over, continue to separate, split and divide. And it'll be destruction. Waliyadhu billah, it's chaos, it's chaotic. One day we're together, the next day we're refuting each other. One day you're upon khair, you have knowledge, you've benefited the people. The next day you're ignorant, you know nothing. Warn from him, burn your tapes, burn his books, get rid of him. He's no good. One after another, after another, after another, after another. That's destruction. And we have seen that in our countries in the West. We've seen that what? In the countries in the West, let alone just the worldly things. But we're talking about talab al-ilm right now. And dawah is a means of destruction. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all. Tayyib, alladhi ba'du.
التنافس والتحاسد عند فتح الدنيا. عن عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال: إذا فتحت عليكم فارس والروم أي قوم أنتم؟ قال عبد الرحمن بن عوف: نقول كما أمرنا الله. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: أو غير ذلك تتنافسون ثم تتحاسدون ثم تتدابرون ثم تتباغضون أو نحو ذلك ثم تنطلقون في مساكن المهاجرين فتجعلون بعضهم على رقاب بعض.
Ahsant. Chapter 8 says competition and envy over worldly temptations. Very similar to the previous chapter. Very similar to the previous chapter. It says, Hadith number 2081, Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As radhiyallahu anhu narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when Persia and Rome will be open for you, what kind of people will you become then? The Prophet asked this to his Sahaba. What kind of people will you be when you conquer the lands of Persia and Rome? It says here, Abdurrahman ibn Auf radhiyallahu anhu said, we should do as Allah azza wa jal commands us. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, nothing else besides it? You sure? That's it? You get all of this wealth? Your lifestyle changes, you're going to be the same? You're going to do what Allah azza wa jal tells you to do? Are you sure? It then says, you would in fact envy one another. Listen carefully. Then defeat one another and hate one another, or said something similar. Then you will go to the poor of the weak immigrants and appoint some of them as leaders on others. خير إن شاء الله. الذي بعده.
باب ما الدنيا في الآخرة إلا مثل ما يجعل أحدكم الأصبع في اليم. عن المستورد أخي بني فهر قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم والله ما الدنيا في الآخرة إلا مثل ما يجعل أحدكم إصبعه
مثل ما يجعل أحدكم أحدكم
إصبعه هذه وأشار يحيى بالسبابة في اليم فلينظر بما يرجع.
Chapter 9, this world and the hereafter is equal to only what a finger takes when dipped in a sea. A finger, you dip it in the sea, how many drops of water fall back into the sea? What damage was done to the sea? What loss did the sea incur when you put your finger in and took it out? The insignificance of the drops of water with regards to the sea and one finger. Al-Mustawrid radiallahu anhu, the brother of the sons of Fihr, narrated that the Messenger of Allah said, by Allah, this world and the hereafter is equal only to your index finger takes from a sea. The Prophet raises his index finger, see what it would take. الذي بعده. باب
في الابتلاء بالدنيا وكيف يعمل فيها. عن أبي هريرة أنه سمع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن 3 من بني إسرائيل أبرص وأقرع وأعمى فأراد الله أن يبتليهم فبعث إليهم ملكا فأتى الأبرص فقال أي شيء أحب إليك؟ قال لون حسن وجلد حسن ويذهب عني الذي قد قدرني الناس. قال فمسحه فذهب عنه قدره وأعطي لونا حسنا وجلدا حسنا. قال فأي المال أحب إليك؟ قال الإبل أو قال البقر. شك إسحاق إلا أن الأبرص أو الأقرع قال أحدهما الإبل وقال الآخر البقر. قال فأعطيني ناقة فأعطي ناقة
عشراء بالتحريك عشراء.
فأعطي ناقة عشراء فقال بارك الله لك فيها. قال فأتى الأقرع فقال أي شيء أحب إليك؟ قال شعر حسن ويذهب عني هذا الذي قد قدرني الناس. قال فمسحه فذهب عنه. قال وأعطي شعرا حسنا. قال فأي المال أحب إليك؟ قال البقر. فأعطي بقرة حاملة وقال بارك الله تعالى لك فيها. قال فأتى الأعمى فقال أي شيء أحب إليك؟ قال أن يرد الله إلي بصري فأبصر به الناس. قال فمسحه فرد الله إليه بصره. قال فأي المال أحب إليك؟ قال الغنم. فأعطي شاة والدا فأنتج هذان. قال وولد هذا فكان لهذا واد من الإبل ولهذا واد من البقر ولهذا واد من الغنم. قال ثم إنه أتى الأبرص في صورته وهيئته فقال رجل مسكين قد انقطع بي الحبال في سفري فلا بلاغ بي اليوم إلا بالله عز وجل ثم بك أسألك بالذي أعطاك اللون الحسن والجلد الحسن والمال بعيرا أتبلغ عليه في سفري. فقال الحقوق كثيرة. فقال كأني أعرفك ألم تكن أبرص يقدرك الناس فقيرا فأعطاك الله؟ فقال إنما ورثت هذا المال كابرا عن كابر. فقال إن كنت كاذبا فصيرك الله إلى ما كنت. قال وأتى الأقرع في صورته وهيئته فقال له مثل ما قال لهذا ورد عليه مثل ما رد على هذا. فقال إن كنت كاذبا فصيرك الله إلى ما كنت. قال وأتى الأعمى في صورته وهيئته فقال له رجل مسكين وابن سبيل انقطعت بي الحبال في سفري فلا بلاغ لي اليوم إلا بالله ثم بك أسألك بالذي رد عليك بصرك شاة أتبلغ بها في سفري فقال قد كنت أعمى قد كنت أعمى فرد الله قد كنت أعمى
عندك بالضم
ما فيش حركات
بالفتحة.
لكن هذا
طيب قال أعد فقال قد كنت أعمى فرد الله هو بالضم. نعم
فرد
أحسنت. قد كنت أعمى. نعم
قد كنت أعمى فرد الله إلي بصري فخذ ما شئت ودع ما شئت فوالله فلا أجهدك اليوم شيئا أخذته لله تعالى فقال أمسك ما لك فإنما ابتليتم فقد رضي عنك وسقط على صاحبيك.
طيب بارك الله فيكم. أحسنت. It says here بالفتحة. هذا غلط خطأ. انتبهوا لنسختك. طيب it says here chapter 10 في الابتلاء بالدنيا وكيف يعمل فيها. Says here affliction in this world and what to do. ما الفرق بين الابتلاء والبلاء؟ هل بينهما فرق؟ البلاء والابتلاء بينهما فرق، ما هو؟ ما الفرق بينهما؟
أحدهما لا يأتي إلا في سياق الخير والآخر في سياق الشر.
في سياق الشر. توافق على هذا؟ وين عبد الرحمن؟ ها
بالشر والخير.
الابتلاء بالاثنين والبلاء ها طيب خير إن شاء الله. Says here chapter 10 affliction in this world and what to do. So the translation here is what? Translation of what? Says affliction, meaning what? Negativity. That's not necessarily accurate. Babun fil ibtila'i bid dunya. The man was blind. Allah Azza wa Jal returned to him his sight, wealth, etc. He was afflicted or he was tested and then blessed. Which of the two? Idris. No doubt. So it's not necessarily shar. It's not necessarily negative. But it's mujarrad imtihan. A test. Some passed, some failed. Alright, got this? المهم إن شاء الله you guys بإذن تراجعوا هذا معنى البلاء ومعنى الابتلاء. خير إن شاء الله والفرق بينهما. طيب, it says here في الابتلاء بالدنيا. Test in the worldly life and not affliction. It's not necessarily a valid translation. In this world and what to do. وكيف يعمل فيها. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrated hadith number 2083 that he heard the Prophet ﷺ saying Allah will to test three persons from the children of Israel who are a leper, a blind, and a bald-headed. So he sent them an angel who came to the leper and said, says here, فَبَعْثَ إِلَيْهِمْ مَلَكًا. He sent them an angel. How was the angel sent to them? In the state of an angel or the state of a human being? In most cases, in the translations of Dar es-Salaam, they have an abundance of captions, an abundance of parentheses. So they should have done what here? Without a doubt, fi surat bashar. Even if it's not mentioned in Arabic, they should have put here, Allah sent them an angel in the form of a man. Everybody got this? And this is a widespread problem in many translations. They put captions and brackets where they shouldn't be. It makes it confusing and cumbersome, the translation. You read one sentence and there's 3, 4, 5 different parentheses and captions. And when it is vague and something needs a caption, needs parentheses, they what? They don't put it, as we say. Everybody got this? Because if I read this, Allah sent them an angel. The first thing I'm thinking about is what? An angel. Everybody understand this? And not an actual human being that looks poor, beat down, a wayfaring traveler. Everybody got this? If they saw a malak, an angel, do you think they would have said what they said and done what they've done? Everybody got this? So this is another example of how many translations need to be revamped. They need to be what? They need to be revamped. Khairan inshallah. It says here, He sent him an angel who came to the leper and said, "What thing do you like most?" He replied, "Good color and good skin, for the people have a strong aversion to me." The angel touched him and he was cured and given a good color and beautiful skin. The angel asked him, "What kind of property do you like best?" He replied, "Camels or cows." So he was given a pregnant she-camel, and the angel said, "May Allah bless it for you." The angel then went to the bald-headed man and said, "What thing do you like most?" He said, "I like good hair and wish to be cured of this baldness, for the people feel repulsion for me." The angel touched him and then he was cured and given good hair. The angel asked him, "What kind of property do you like best?" He said, "Cows." The angel gave him a pregnant cow and said, "May Allah bless it for you." The angel went to the blind man and he asked, "What thing do you like best?" He said, "I like that Allah restore my eyesight so I may see the people." Look carefully at the hadith. The leper, the bald-headed man, what did they say? I like to do what? What did he say? What did they say? It's a very important part of the hadith, the balagh of the hadith. He says, what did he say? I want good skin, I want good color. I want my hair to come back. And the blind man said what? La, it's not what he said first. It's not what he said first. Who restored the vision? Aywa, what are you thinking, Kufi, Ikhwan? He said, for Allah to give me back my eyesight. The blind man had what? Ta'addaba ma'Allah. He had respect for Allah and he mentioned Allah's name and knew that Allah was the one that gives the blessings and takes them away. The leper said, I just want what? No, he never not mentioned Allah's name. The leper did not what? He didn't mention Allah's name. The bald-headed man didn't what? He didn't mention Allah's name. The blind man from the get-go, he said what? For Allah to give me what? And look, Allahu Akbar, what he said. After that, he said what? He says, I like that Allah may restore my eyesight so that I may see the people. Allahu Akbar. Not so the people can stop talking about me. Not so the people can stop having a version of me. But I want to what? See the people. The leper was worried about what? Wow. The bald-headed man was worried about? The blind man just wanted to and interact with Allah's slaves. See the difference of the three men? Everybody understand this? And a talib al-ilm, you have to be willing, you have to be able to get these gems from the hadith. Everybody got this? These subtle gems from the hadith. Everybody understand this or not? And it's a huge difference. And it's one of the reasons why Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah placed this hadith in Kitab al-Tawheed, because it pertains to Tawheed as well. Everybody understand this? But this is subtle. That's why you have to be trained to look for these things. Naam Idris? Khairan inshallah. Moving forward. It then says, what kind of property do you like best? He replied, sheep. The angel gave him a pregnant sheep. He didn't say a camel. He didn't say a cow, a big, luxurious, expensive animal. Just give me something simple I can eat from, it can take care, and that's it. He was humble from the get-go. And there are hadith about camels and sheep herders and the difference between the two. The pride, the arrogance, the pomp that comes with camel herders. Naam. And the concept of the prophets, the Anbiya, having sheep and goat that they looked after. The nature of the sheep is totally different than the nature of the camel, the cow, the size of the animal, the meat of the animal. It's a difference. Everybody understand this? These are all subtleties from the hadith. This blind man was humble. He was simple. He didn't want too much. He didn't want a lot. A few basic things. Everybody got this? Khairan inshallah. Moving forward. Afterwards, all the three pregnant animals gave birth to young ones and multiplied and brought forth so much that each of one of the three men had a herd of camels, a valley, and one had a herd of cows filling the valley, and one had a flock of sheep filling the valley. Then the angel, disguised in the shape and appearance of a leper. So the angel initially went to them how? The angel initially went to them in the form of a man or in the form of an angel? Which of the two? A man. Secondly, the angel came back in the form of what? A leper. In other words, based off of the interpretation that we mentioned that he was a man, he was normal. Then he came in a state that was similar to theirs. Everybody understand this? It says, went to the leper and said, I'm a poor man who has lost all means of livelihood while on a journey. So none will satisfy my need except Allah and then you. I ask you about the one who gave you such nice color and beautiful skin and so much property. I ask you to give me a camel so that I may reach my destination. The man replied, I have many obligations. Allahu Akbar. Like people say today, I got bills. Say what? I got bills, it's real. I can't help you, I'm sorry. You say this in New York, right in the feast? Say I have my own bills, I have my own responsibilities, I have my own life, I can't help you. A man may say this to his own mother. His mother's sick, she needs attention. He says, I have my own life. I don't have time to look after my mother all day. Everybody understand this? So it says here, the angel said, I think I know you. Were you not a leper to whom the people had a strong aversion? Weren't you a poor man? And then Allah gave you all this property? He replied, this is all wrong. I have this property through inheritance from my forefathers. The angel said, if you're telling a lie, then let Allah make you as you were before. Then the angel, disguised in the shape and appearance of a bald man, went to the bald man and said the same as he told the first one. And he too answered the same as the first one did. The angel said, if you're telling a lie, then may Allah make you as you were before. Then the angel, disguised in the shape of a blind man, went to the blind man and said, I'm a poor man and a traveler whose means of livelihood have been exhausted while on a journey. I have nobody to help me except Allah and then you. I ask you by the one who gave you, this is it's a mistake here in English. It says, I ask you by the one, period. Then a new sentence, who gave you back your eyesight to give me a sheep, so that with his help I may complete my journey. The man said, no doubt, I was blind and Allah gave me back my eyesight. I was poor and Allah made me rich. So take anything you wish from my property. By Allah, I will not stop you from taking anything, parentheses, you need of my property, which you may take for Allah's sake. The angel replied, keep your property with you. For I, 3 men, have been tested, and Allah is pleased with you and angry with your 2 companions. This is an amazing hadith, beautiful hadith, full of fawaid, from the beginning of the hadith to the end of the hadith. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to dissect it and take every single ruling from aqidah, fiqh, adab, akhlaq, sadaqah, etc. Khair, inshallah, the highlighting point from the hadith is that everyone is going to be tested in this dunya. All of us, the rich and the poor, those who have good color, those who have bad color, those who have good skin, those who have bad skin, those who have good hair, those who have bad hair, those who have cows, camels, sheep. You have this health issue, this problem, Allah is going to test us all. Is Allah pleased with us or displeased with us? When we get things, when we get ni'mah, do we thank Allah for them? Do we even attribute those blessings to Allah? I worked hard for this. I studied hard, I worked 2 jobs, I went to school, I worked my butt off. So when people say, I deserve this, it's unfair for you to treat me like this. And people, they forget to mention Allah's name. Allah gave me this, Allah allowed me this. It's not right for you to treat me like this because of Allah's rights, so on and so forth. So it's a very important concept from this hadith. The concept of patience, the concept of shukr, the concept of Allah testing people in this dunya, and also melting the heart. Khair, inshallah. Alladhi ba'dahu.